Hello, this is Roland. Today I want to make a follow-up video, or part 2, to yesterday's video about the tree of life. I talked about the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And I made the point that those are exclusive and separate, and they preclude each other. You see, God told Adam, see, there has to be an alternative. In other words, for there to be love, there must also be hate. Okay? For there to be courage, there must be danger. See, there has to be an opposite to bring forth the courage, to bring forth the love. And so God had the tree of life, but then in order to create love, see, God created the whole universe in all of its splendor and beauty. But there's one thing that he couldn't create, and that's love. Well, he did. He did create love, but he created it in a way that love, that the creature, the person, the soul, is able to love of its own free will, to love. And so there has to be an alternative. Now, the tree of life represents intimacy with God. But there has to be an alternative. And the alternative is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And so there's great danger with knowledge. Great danger. Have you ever wondered why? When you look at countries that have gone in a very bad way, the Pol Pot, remember? And was that Cambodia? I can't remember. Russia went communist. The French Revolution. And all of these countries where they've gone for socialism, communism. You know who the biggest saps, who were in the forefront of destroying what was, and building a totalitarian insanity of communism, socialism. Who was at the forefront? It was the intellectuals. Okay, and who were the biggest saps, the biggest dupes, the ones that went for communism and socialism? See, and every other ism, and every incredible foolishness that came down the pike. Who were the most gullible and the biggest saps of all? It's always the intellectuals, and that's why today, in America, on campus, I'm sure you've heard that when speakers, like conservative speakers, want to go and speak at a college campus, they are hooted down or attacked or so on. There's something wrong when there isn't free speech on a campus. Okay? Well, it's because the most gullible and stupid, but dangerous, because they have power, and because everyone worships education, are the intellectuals, the college professors, okay, on campus. They're the ones that are the socialists, the communists, and for every new strange idea that comes down the pike, they're there in favor of it. I'm sure you've heard that in America, it's some incredible amount. I don't know, is it 90% of the college professors are liberal? Okay, something like that. So there's danger with knowledge, okay? When you choose knowledge, it precludes partaking of the tree of life. Okay, so it's one or the other. But everyone lines up for the tree of knowledge, don't they? Now, I have to say, So this follow-up video is to clarify a couple of things for you. Some of you are able to follow me. You understand. You can sense, okay, that there's something wrong with the education, the educational establishment. There's something wrong with it, and that there's danger there. You sensed that when you were in school, didn't you? You sensed the danger to your selfhood. You sensed that somehow they were ruining learning. See, learning is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a discovery process. Okay? But now let me just cut right to the quick to make something very clear. And that is, and this will be of help to you. Those of you who are able to follow me, and yet you wonder, well, then how can I function if there's great danger in knowledge? Well, first of all, let me say that knowledge has its usefulness, as I said yesterday. Sure, you need to know how to use your computer and how to use your iPhone and how to change a tire and how to wash clothes and how to read and how to add and subtract and all of that, of course. Okay? You need to know that stuff. But knowledge must also have understanding with it. It must always be tempered with understanding. Understanding comes from your intuition. And intuition is your closest link to God. So all of the what is called understanding and wisdom and love, see, and vision, all of that comes from God. It's imparted to the soul that loves the truth and that wants to know the truth and is willing to become still instead of always rushing ambitiously. So now, we said that knowledge can be useful, but it must be tempered with understanding. Okay? And then the next step is that knowledge can be used by understanding, can be used by what you know in your heart. Okay? Can be used by it so that you can express it in the world. The classic example is Albert Einstein, who made some wonderful discoveries. Notice I used the word discovery. He didn't invent what he discovered. He discovered it. He intuited it. Okay? It came to him naturally, like a gift. He just knew. That's why they said he was unbudgeable. See, he had faith in what he knew. But how about you? Do you have faith in what you know? No. You doubt what you know in your heart, don't you? Especially when there seems to be some advantage to reaching up to the outside, to set aside conscience, to set aside intuition, to reach. He trusted what he knew in his heart when he made his discoveries. But then he used math, see, and the science and experiments were used to validate what he had found, which he knew was true. And then he used language. He used math and he used words to express what he had discovered, you see? So therefore, his intellect, his memory, his imagination were in service to his intuition. But first, intuition. He once said, first intuition, see, and then the other things follow. Okay? And then the other thing is, you need to, but you see, Paul said, remember the beautiful chapter in Corinthians about love, remember? I wish I could read it to you now, but you remember. Love. Then he said, if love is patient, love is kind. Okay? Love hopes all things, endures all things. You remember, it's so beautiful. But then he said, if you don't have love, you don't have anything. But then he went on to say, after that, that we look in a glass or in a mirror darkly. See? But then face to face. Okay? So first there's knowledge. Okay? And never letting go of intuition. Always trusting what you know in your heart. But then knowledge leads to the knowledge can then lead to can be a catalyst for discovering things, realizing things. See? And so you realize more and more. You see deeply, more and more deeply. Okay? And then eventually, see, so then knowledge can be set aside. Remember, then Paul went on to say, when I was a child, I thought like a child and spoke like a child. But then I put away childish things. Well, at a certain point, the knowledge can be put away. And then what you have is pure realization, pure understanding, pure wisdom. Okay? You just see. And it's a wonderful thing to see. And to understand deeply. In a lightning flash, you can understand in a second what takes other people 1,000 years to understand, and probably they never will understand it. But you see it. You can put away knowledge. It served its purpose. And it led you to understanding. Led you to within. And then as you realize more and more and understand more and more, see, and love more and more, and have more and more awe and wonder at what you're discovering, see, of God's great earth and of science and of everything made by the Creator. Then eventually you discover Him. See, you see more and more. See, you become aware of the process. See the tree of the knowledge, tree of life. See, you realize things and understand things. Remember yesterday I gave you the example of Brother Lawrence. They say that Brother Lawrence had his conversion experience, okay? When he went from just being a guy walking around, didn't know much, okay, to suddenly realizing God. And it was when he saw a tree, a tree, it wasn't dead, but a tree in winter, bare branches, no leaves, okay, just bare. But then he realized that tree was waiting, and then when spring came and the warmth of the sun came, then the tree would come to life and sprout leaves and blossoms and fruit. And in that lightning flash, he saw God's creative genius. He saw God's patience, God's wisdom, His mastery, see, His benevolence, His generosity, see. He saw all of that in a lightning flash. Well, see, so as you make discoveries about God, see, then you also begin to discover the process. See, you see the process. You see that there's a situation and you don't know what to do or what to say, and you know if you reach into your intellect for something that you memorized and regurgitated, it's not going to be timely. It won't be alive. It'll be dead. It'll probably be wrong. And if you look in the world to other people and books and knowledge and the internet, then you're not going to find the answer to this delicate moment, perhaps with your child or your partner. So it's very delicate. And you don't know, and you realize that you don't know. See? So you see that you don't know, but then all of a sudden the answer comes. See? Something comes to you. Like magic. There it is. You didn't think of it, but it's there. And then it's right. And you begin to see that there's a hand that is shaping things. And you can see that somebody's looking out for you, very subtly. Someone's looking out for you. And then you begin to see the difference between realizing wordlessly and the difference between that and raw, dead knowledge that comes out of your memory banks or from some book. You see the difference. And then you begin to realize the source and the process of how it is revealed to you. See, how you have these insights. And then that source, that light, You realize that that source and that light is the truth with a capital T. And in its light, which shines in your soul, you see things and understand things. See? And then seeing that process then, see, you see that God has somehow entered your life. Okay? Now, I want to say something about the difference between judgment and discernment. I think this will be a big help to you. That was a little preamble, okay, that I had, okay, but I wanted to get to this point, the difference between discerning and judging. See, when you judge someone with a little pinch of resentment, see, you become a little bit resentful of someone and you judge them for something they said or something they did or something they're doing. See, you kind of puff up and you look down on them a little bit and judge them. Well, that judgment is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, forming a judgment, see, with a little pinch of resentment, and it puffs up your pride. Okay. But on the other hand, if you give up judgment, see, and then you just see. So you see someone and they're making a mistake, okay, and you see it, but you don't judge them for it. You don't hate them for it. See, you just see that they're making a mistake. Okay, well, that's innocent. It's innocent to see. You just see what you see, but you don't judge them or hate them. You see the difference? It's the difference between discerning. It's okay to discern error, to discern wrong, okay, to see it clear, to see that something is wrong. But just don't resent the person for it, that's all. Don't hate them for it. Don't have that little pinch of resentment, which turns it into judgment. See the difference? Okay? See, that's very important. So some people, they get confused on that point. They think, well, then I can't. Then they think, well, I have to go around and see no evil, hear no evil. See, and pretend that they don't see anybody's error. See, we're so used to judging. Some people won't give it up. See, but it's something that you have to give up judgment. Because it's pride food. It feeds the pride. It feeds the beast in you. And that pride separates you from God, separates you from innocence, separates you from understanding, separates you from love. See? Judgment. So, learn to observe things without forming an opinion about them. Just see it, that's all. See, just see something and don't say he's a wonderful person or he's a terrible person. Just see. Just see him, that's all. And that's all. Then if he says something nice or right, then, well, that's nice. He said something right. But don't judge him as being a good person because of it. He may not be a good person. Just see, just hear it and it sounds right, okay? And then if he says something wrong or does something wrong, then just see that he said or did something wrong. If you see it, maybe he didn't, maybe you don't know, then you just don't know. But if you see it, then you see it, but don't form a judgment. So go through life without being for and against things, without saying he's good and she's bad, and just let that go. Just observe. Do you remember when you were a little child? It's one of my favorite examples. I give it all the time. But when you were a little child, you saw many things when you were a little child about something. Okay? So you just watched. You looked at Mommy, and then Daddy said something, and then Mommy said something, then Daddy said something. One man said it's like watching a tennis match. Okay, you hit the ball from one side to the other. Okay, so you just watched, and you didn't form any judgment. So, you see how simple that is? But anyway, when you were a little child, you just saw many things, and you looked with awe and with wonder. You wondered about things. You didn't form a judgment. Oh, he's terrible, she's bad, he's good, this is bad. You just saw things, and you have to learn to be like that again. Christ said, unless you become like a little child, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. Well, that's the idea. So, you got the basics of it? Learn to go through life with an attitude of no attitude. Just observe things and watch. Watch how little things that people do and say. Notice how it tends to puff you up. See, oh, he didn't look at me, or she didn't say good morning to me, or he didn't step out of the way when I came by, or he cut in front of me. You see the silliness of it, the foolishness of it. But it's more than silly. It's more than foolish. It's deadly. The knowledge of good and evil. If you become addicted to judging other people, see, which is knowledge without love, isn't it? Remember Paul said, if you don't have love, you don't have anything. Okay. I'm making this video, and I'm making it in the morning because that's the best time. At this time of the year, it's the best time for me to make the video but we had some sunlight, and then some clouds came, and then the sunlight again. Okay, well, so I just keep making the video. If it gets a little darker, it's because there were clouds outside. But you see, Paul said, if you don't have love. So if you're judging, see, you don't have love. To have love, you have to be connected to the source of love, which is God. Connected to God. Connected to understanding, to wisdom. See, the tree of life. See, life, love. But if you don't, see, if you judge, if you are an ego that craves to judge, to puff yourself up and play God, instead of wanting to know God, you want to know yourself as God. Okay? Then you make your judgments, but there's no love. That's why people, even people who are nice, you see, they don't get it right. They're nice to all the wrong. Have you seen that? Because they don't have understanding. See, so they're nice to some bum on the street, or they're nice to some stranger, and they don't have time for their own child. See the injustice. See how it tempts the child to resent them. You see how they got it wrong because they don't have love. They don't know what love is. See? And judgment doesn't have any love in it. So what people do is they go around judging everyone. Then they feel guilty for the judgment because the judgment is wrong. And so out of guilt, then they're nice. See, or they pretend to see everybody as nice. See, well, that's not true either. There's no truth in that. See, who was it? Winston Churchill, who said, you know, if you're not a liberal when you're 20 years old, then you don't have a heart, and if you're not a conservative when you're 40, then you don't have a brain. Well, you see. Okay. Well, there's some truth to that. So truth must have love with it, and love must have truth. It's the tree of life. Light and warmth. See, like the sun has both light and warmth. In the wintertime, you have light, but no warmth. See? But in the summer, the spring and summer, you have light and warmth. See? Truth and love. Okay? So you need both. So go through life with an attitude of no attitude. See? Just see people like a little child. Just observe. See? And then, if you see someone who's making an error, then just see it. That's all. Don't judge them for it. And if somebody says something nice, then just say, well, see that they're saying something nice, but don't judge them as being good for it. See? All right. Hope you enjoyed today's video. You should see the one I just made, and then this one. There's two. They go together. Okay? I think this one's actually better, to be honest with you. But the other one was good too. So you should watch both of them.